This video is sponsored by Squarespace. When you think about the most impossible guitar lick ever played, what comes to mind? 10 come to mind for me, and I'm going to outline each one of them. These are all licks that I could actually find the guitarist playing them live. It's one thing to be in a music studio with perfect playing conditions, and it's another thing to be able to execute these monstrous passages of notes live. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who need a glorious David Gilmour bend, here it is. Okay, you got that out of your system? There you go. I don't want to see any lame comments.
Oh, that's great, but where's the soul? A million notes, but no soul.
Shut up.
B.B. King could say more with one note than this person could say with a million.
We get it. This ain't that kind of video. B.B. King ain't in here. Let's go. The reason this lick is difficult is it's string skips and it requires 4 notes per string on these string skips. So it's 3 notes on the fretting hand and 1 tap. How precise you have to be to execute this lick, it would just take me all day to even get close to playing this at maybe 80% speed, and just to be able to write it and play it off the cuff live and then go into the rest of this ridiculous song. This is one of the most impossible guitar licks ever. Moving on. I mean, that's literally where the whole Steve Vai only plays a million notes per second, he has no feel joke. That's where it came from. This exact passage of notes. And obviously, in case you're new to the channel, that was a joke I told in like 2015.
All Steve Vai does is play a million notes per second. He has no feel.
I'm just playing off the tired notion that playing fast equals no feel and emotion. That's not true. Now, let's break down this lick because he plays all the notes. That move right there. Look at this little move right here. Da-da-la-da-da-da-da-da. So this is all 16th note triplets. That little thing I just pointed out, instead of going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it goes da-da-la-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That tiny little jungle gym move, but still not missing a note, man. Look at this guy. He's just like, damn, I'm glad I don't have to play this part. What a ridiculous passage, the Attitude song. Some say it's Steve Vai's most difficult composition to perform. Look at that face. It says it all. Moving on. That right there is so... That harmonic that he hits at the end. Sorry, I'm trying not to scat all of these licks, but it's just, I'm so excited about these. He's basically playing every note in his chosen scale. It's just 2 octaves, just a very simple 2-octave scale run, but he's playing it at warp speed. And that's what that Yngwie Malmsteen lick sounds like and looks like in Tab. You know where else I use Tab? In Guitar Super System, my learning platform for guitar players. And you know how I built Guitar Super System? With the help of the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. You can get a free trial of Squarespace if you go to squarespace.com/musiciswin. Use the code musiciswin to get 10% off your first purchase. Now, it's a well-known fact that Squarespace is flexible for any type of website, whether you're a musician or a painter or a restaurateur, any sort of entrepreneur, you can create a website for your business. I did for Guitar Super System, and as I mentioned, there are a lot of easy-to-use tools to enable your audience to get the most out of what you do. For example, I offer backing tracks and downloadable tabs in a lot of my lessons, and they're super easy to use. This is an all-in-one platform. It spans across devices, so no matter if you use Android or iPhone, Apple, Windows, it doesn't matter. You can download my tabs and my backing tracks easily off my website anytime you want. Without Squarespace, a lot of people wouldn't know a lot of stuff about guitar. So thank you to them for sponsoring today's video and allowing me to create such a cool platform in Guitar Super System. So make sure you check out the link down below. Go to squarespace.com/musiciswin. Use the code musiciswin to get 10% off your first purchase now. back to a very challenging, if not impossible, guitar lick. And this person's tone, well, let's just say it's the most recognizable guitar tone of all time.
You could really choose any lick from this intro. This is one of the most famous guitar intros to any live performance ever. Maybe the best. Anyway, this particular lick here, it isn't the most technically difficult one on this list, but the way Eric Johnson plays this, it's called phrasing. The way he phrases these different passages is almost impossible to replicate unless you have his hands and his musical sensibilities. This is blazing fast, but then when he starts going to emphasize these certain notes as these sort of melodic touchstones, basically impossible to play this like him. I don't care who you are. Now we'll take it down a couple notches as we move into the acoustic realm. Yes, acoustic guitar pieces can be impossible as well. That is easily the most melodic piece of impossible guitar playing on our list today. The flexibility and the mastery to have all these strings ringing simultaneously, but still not ringing so much that it covers up the melody. Look at his middle and ring fingers in particular during this passage. That's like a little John Mayer stretch. You know how John Mayer's thumb kind of dislocates from itself? That's what I get the feeling is happening here. It's just so awesome. And these are hammer-ons. He's not actually playing some of these notes. They're hammers from nowhere, which means it's the strength of your fretting hand is making that note happen to basically pump the bass line. So good. Moving on to Here we go. You know how people say, oh, I don't like sweeps, they just sound like computer. Well, that's the best sounding computer I've ever heard. If I slow this down to the slowest possible YouTube setting, even when the audio's slowed down, you can't necessarily figure out how this is happening. He's like breaking the sound barrier. He's playing so fast. The technique, like all the notes, he's not flubbing over any of these notes. If he is, you wouldn't be able to tell because it's happening so quickly and every other note is right there. And that's kind of why I always emphasize being able to bend in tune, because you could play the crappiest, trashiest run, but then if you end on a bend like this, that's so good. That's so good. All right, let's move on. He doesn't even look up. He's just like, yep, just doing my job. This lick is just not only technically perfect, but like the endurance you need to play. This is part of almost a 7-minute song that Jason's playing, and he's just ripping. I like the slow motion. Whoa. The crazy thing, when you look at it at this speed, it's almost like he's pulling down. I mean, there must be some element of a pull-off happening, even though it seems like it's all alternate picked. Also, due to how quick this is and how much strength you need to pull off a lick like this, simultaneously pulling off and picking, so it like doubles the strength of the note. Unparalleled technique. Jason is a friggin' monster, man. Let's move on.
It's a 12-bar blues in the key of E, and if you want to sing along, please don't. You'll ruin the whole thing.
Nothing like insulting the audience and then making them cheer for you with your insult. Tommy's the best. So slowed down, that would be again, triplets. It's just unbelievable that he's doing it on an acoustic. And you know, with a 12-bar blues, like this is way different than something he would do like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, for example, where it's just very beautiful. Amazing techniques in that song as well, though, with his harp harmonics and just the attention to detail. That's more in the Andy McKee realm, with having all these notes being able to ring out at once and the finger strength it takes to do that and the dexterity and all this. But this is just old-fashioned grit, man. Look at this. That is just awesome. This is just my wheelhouse. I love guitar playing like this, where it's just like, I could never do that. Let's move on, shall we? Let's hear that again, shall we? Yeah, I meant to do that. I'm Greg Howe. If you don't know who Greg Howe is, now you do. You're welcome. It's just one of the most tongue-twistery things I've ever heard on the guitar, and to watch him rip it out live is awesome too. And I think maybe the most difficult thing here is the separation between the pinky and the ring finger, and how those two are really working in conjunction but completely separately from each other. Pay attention to the ring finger and pinky in this phrase. You know, he has the typical blues thing going on where your pinky kind of shrinks, and then all of a sudden it blooms out to play these kind of like diagonal sorts of lines. But when you start to ask your fingers to do different things, and this is like the Steve Vai joint shifting method on display, when you start asking your fingers to go in different directions and play different strings and different sorts of rhythms, that's where things really get difficult. This lick is a perfect example of that. Now let's get to the final lick of our list of the 10 most impossible guitar licks to play. And you could choose, once again, any lick from this entire performance. It's not even a song, it's just a warm-up. That's why it's just watch. Ah, yes. My pal, Rick Graham. Little known fact about Rick, he's actually an amazing classical guitar player as well. But the thing about classical guitar players, they have flawless technique most of the time, so I think that just sort of translated over to the electric guitar. Just check out his picking hand. Look at how little it's moving. Unbelievable. That's alien. You know, I haven't used that word yet in this video. That's alien right there. His economy of motion is the smallest you can possibly have, in my opinion. And that is why he rounds out our list at number 1, 10 most impossible guitar licks. And like I said, this video is called Killer Shred Technique. He's literally just warming up for a video shoot for some guitar lesson thing he did a long time ago. You can find out about it on Guitar Villains, my podcast, where I interviewed him and asked him about Killer Shred Technique. A lot of guitar players who were in this video have been on my podcast, Guitar Villains. Steve Vai, John Petrucci, Jason Richardson, Tommy Emmanuel. I don't know what to say about this other than I'm never going to play like that. You're never going to play like that. Pretty much nobody will play like that. I don't even know if Rick can play like that again. I mean, he can. He's great. But this is like a one-of-one moment in the guitar universe that I'm so glad was captured. There you have it. The 10 most impossible guitar licks. If you have a suggestion of what could have been on this list, leave a comment with the title and maybe like a timestamp that we can find the lick. And also, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Make sure to use the link in the description if you're interested in starting your own website where you just play impossible guitar licks. I would visit that website. Until next time.